Hey, hey, y'all. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you all are well. I am excited for our show today as we are joined by a very special guest. He wears many of hats and impacts lives and spaces and industries with his talent, compassion, and vision. A celebrity DJ, a producer, an entrepreneur, an activist, a mentor, a leader within various communities and industries, an elite force in entertainment, who has built a reputation as the DJ who doesn't just play music, he moves people, moves culture, and leaves legacies. He's a father figure to many, and a friend to many more. We have with us today the one, the only DJ OG1.
Hey,
Yeah. I wish I was
hey.
talented enough. I wish I was up on my game enough to have some applause in the background. I don't have my sound game up yet, but I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. It's so great to have you today, OG, and it's so funny is there's a little life lesson in this one for me, right?
Okay.
Because um oh goodness, what were we there was it the last episode that I had posted a clip from that I did with Durante and you commented under it and
You're
that's
right.
how this
Yep.
episode came to fruition.
Yep.
But I have there's certain people that I have in like the my back pocket that I'm like in a minute. And in that moment when you reached out and you were like, when? I was like, Janelle, you have to stop shortchanging yourself. Like,
Right.
because it always seems like like I want to get to this place or I want to get to this space or I want to grow just a little bit more. And that was a moment where it was just like slap upside my head, just do it. You can only hear one or two things. People say yes, people say no.
Right.
And so it's really great to have you here today.
Yeah. I don't think it will ever be a time where I can tell you no. Hey, there's very few people that I would say no to. You would
Oh,
be one of them.
you know, people you care about and you see and you honor them in a certain way, and you want to have the right moment, right? And so even Durante, there was a right moment, and he, um, for me, and that was, the moment that was at the PDX Hip Hop Awards that inspired me to say, we've got to talk about this more,
Yeah.
and so there's a moment that I look for with people, and so sometimes they, come about organically, and sometimes it's like just in certain scenarios that I'm like, oh, we got to talk more about this. And
Right.
so I appreciate you being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So I know you, of course, DJ OG1 and I go way back.
Way back.
And it's so funny. I was thinking about our story and back to when I very first came to know you, and it was actually through young people that you were mentoring. Um, because I was needing music cut and I didn't know how to do it yet on my own. And I believe it was Leslie Newton
Yep.
that connected us, and that's how we started. And then we did that. We were doing those things together, and then Dana and I had Urban Arts, our dance company, and then you became a board member for that. And then it's just been ongoing connection in the community and through events and work. And so, for people who don't know you in the way that I might know you, we have listeners from all over. Um, you're not from Portland, but you've built a life in Portland. Tell us how
Right.
you got here.
That's a huge
I know.
yeah, that's a huge one. The short version of
Yes.
it, I grew up in Watts, California. I came to Portland in '88. Originally, the plan was to run in the Cascade runoffs because I was an athlete at
Mhm.
that time. I was doing some music, but I was mainly focused on athletics. And so that was the plan when I came to Oregon. But unfortunately, some shifts happened that I had no control over
Mhm.
that kind
Mhm.
of threw my life in a whirlwind. But Portland became the place that I wanted to be planted in.
Yes. Yes. And how did we come to a space where we're like DJing as if is it from or not it for me because you do many of different things, but it I feel like it's kind of the catalyst of many of things, right? It
Right,
branches you out and is kind of like the foundation of where all of your other endeavors stem from. And I could be wrong
right.
on that, but
No, no, you're
correct me if I
absolutely right.
am.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I think DJing for me because I was always into music.
Mm,
Music, since I can remember as a
mm,
child.
mm,
Um, so I knew I wanted to be engaged in music, but when I was younger, I thought that it was going to be just what like being a musician because my dad was a musician
mm.
and I played instruments and things like that. But it wasn't until and I was that kid in the neighborhood that had all the cassettes in the music. So people would come,
Yes,
they're like, "Hey, can I borrow your cassette? Or can you make me a party tape or whatever?" And this
yes.
before I had even had like any turntables or anything, or even knew of anything other than a regular record player.
Mm,
And so I had that in me, but it wasn't until hip hop came on scene in the mid '80s for me
mm-hmm,
that when I saw the DJ and the ability to
mm,
control an audience, and
mm.
and when I say control, really in the sense of taking people on a journey, like allowing
Yes.
them to escape. I knew it was an escape for me personally. It was a coping for me music wise, but when I seen that, it was like, yeah, it just clicked. It was like, that
Mm-hmm.
was it. I wanted to do DJing, but I didn't even see it then as being a profession,
Mm,
like something
mm,
that I wanted as a career. It was just like, no, I like doing that,
yeah.
and so but it wasn't until I came to Portland that I really locked in, like, no, I'm gonna really be this DJ.
Mm, mm. Yeah, that makes me think about I mean, obviously being a dancer, like my connection to music and the way that I come into music even, like how I hear certain songs that I wouldn't have heard before. So, I mean, there's such this unique relationship between like the DJ, the artist who makes the music in the dance world, and how it's like this ecosystem of how it interprets and brings this music to people
Hmm.
in general, right?
Hmm.
And um and how much the DJ matters, because it's like that's the difference sometimes in me, in my younger days when I would, in social scenes that would tell me where I'm trying to go.
Right.
Where I'm trying to go. Even I was thinking about the other day, the verses that's coming up, right? I don't know if you've seen that yet, but it's like No Limit and
Cash
Cash
Money and
Money.
No
And
Limit.
oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I imagine the way that I'm going to be in front of my television, losing my mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and for what their DJs do, for what the artists do, the songs that they choose for it, and how that really um can move people, and even thinking of just living in blackness, right? Like the
Hmm.
joy, like that is a piece of our black joy, being able to like for it's being lost in this space where we are moved by this magical, spirit is magical to me, really.
Yeah. And you think about it, uh, and I know consciously a lot of people don't might not necessarily think of it this way, but I know as a creator, both dance wise
Mm,
and as DJ wise, it's all about the story for us.
yes.
It's about the story. Your story is through movement.
Yes.
For me, music, when I DJ, it's about telling a story. Now, most of the time, my story is I'm interpreting the story through how the audience moves.
Mm-hmm.
Some people call it reading the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. I'm reading the audience's story and saying, okay, how do I tell your story through the
Mm,
music I'm getting ready to play?
mm, mm. So the one of the taglines for urban arts was interpreting the art of life through dance. And part of the inspiration for the creation of that dance company was to be able to provide, young people the opportunity to receive professional level training who would not have normally had access to it. So it was a way of us um, honoring our craft,
Hmm.
mentoring others, um, and um, and providing them some pre-professional pathways to live out their dream and a space of healing,
Yeah,
right? When we get to
yeah,
tell those stories, when we get to live in that space of movement and creativity, when we get to be who we are in our fullness, it's that zone. When people talk
yeah,
about zoning out, like that's that zone, right? And
absolutely.
and and so, um, what are the stories that are important for you to tell through your art?
I think for me, and again, it's those
Mm,
unspoken things. Um, I know for me, it's safety is always a
yes.
thing for me, and not just like physical
Yeah.
safety, but like you're safe to be expressive in
Mm,
environments with me when I'm playing music. Like I want people to be silly. I want
yes.
people to be emotional. I want people to be happy. I want to be people to, have spaces of reflection, when
Mm-hmm.
they're in the spaces when I'm playing. So it's why I pay close attention to, how people are moving, even if
Yeah.
it's I'm at a reception and people are sitting down at a table. I'm watching who's bobbing your head,
Yeah.
just, or just like some people I've seen closing their eyes, like, grandma
Mm.
and them just like, and they give you that mean look like, oh no, he didn't. Like,
Yeah.
those type of things are like, okay, I'm tapping into people's whatever that song represented for them,
Mm-hmm.
a moment in time in life and experience.
Yeah.
It gives them a space to be able to sit in it,
Yes.
and that's the joy to me, the ultimate joy as a DJ for me.
Yes. Yes. Don't ask me why right now in this moment. Oh Lord. I'm thinking about, and I know you don't remember this time because I know you don't remember this because you've had many of shows and many of events. But I'm thinking about this one time, where I don't even remember. Portland has had such a
Mhm.
remake of all of their like club style,
Right, right.
venues. Oh my goodness. But I remember it was right like I want to remember, and I'm not gonna do that here. I want so bad to remember the name of this place. But me and my friend came, and you were DJing, and we went because you were DJing.
Mhm.
And there must have been maybe 5 feet of wide open space somewhere, might have been four. We must have lost our minds in here, and nobody else in there mattered. We were losing our minds together, her and I. Shout out to Kalima. Her and I, we were in there losing our minds. And in that moment, I know that you were playing for that space, right? For every single
Absolutely.
person in that space, we probably felt like you were playing for us because we were losing our minds. And I just remember, and I was like, oh my gosh, I hope he don't kill me later because we were just like nobody else in that space mattered. And it just felt so good. Which is why I remember it to this day because we were
Yeah.
just vibing out. And I was like, oh my gosh, I hope we're not embarrassing to him.
No, and here's what's so interesting. I'm trying to remember the place it was at, but here's what's so crazy. As a DJ, I look for those spaces and those moments, and
Mm,
it can be three people in a space, and they're just going in it, and other people might just be trying to be cool and
Yes.
everything. But for me, I'm playing for y'all.
Yeah.
I'm playing. It's like, okay, okay, y'all be cool and bougie or whatever y'all want to call it, but I'm playing for them three or them two over there, right there.
Right.
And as long as they keep moving, I'm going there with music.
We
Yeah, so
had a
no,
time.
it's always good.
I love that. So, well, let's talk about some of the other endeavors that have like branched off from that. What are some of the other? I mean, I know in general you have leadertainment, and then you have something that may not be new, but it's been newer to me as I've been seeing it more, should I say, and that's the Be Fluid. Can you talk more about those things?
Yeah, yeah. So, as you know, all the work that I've been doing over the years in mentoring and
Mm-hmm.
as well as business and being heavy in the industry.
Yeah.
And so for me, probably since 2017, I want to actually 2016 is when I first kind of I felt like I hit a wall
Mm,
in terms of like I've done all these high profile, situations. My brand as a DJ, excuse me, it was solidified. But then I had this whole thing of, the leadership side of me
yeah.
and the community part of me that I was feeling like, okay, well, how do I merge the two where it doesn't seem like it's separate. It doesn't feel like
Mm,
I'm doing the community thing here and then I'm doing celebrity thing or the OG1 thing here.
mm-hmm.
And really struggled. I
Mm,
struggled for a while. Like, how do I make sure that both of those are fluid,
yeah.
between each other? And that's where the name Leadertainment came from.
Mm,
I was
mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
merging leadership and merging entertainment together because ultimately for me, OG1 exists. The brand of OG1 exists because of the work that I want to do and have done in communities. And
Yes.
you think about I've been able to leverage very effectively the OG1 brand to impact the lives of people.
Yes.
Not just, okay, hey, to be the best DJ and the
Yes.
rock parties. I've leveraged all those experience to be influential in the space of the leadership stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I
Mm,
was like, okay, well, I want to create experiences that are fun, engaging, that has the celebrity feel, but has the impact of leadership and community
yes.
that I want to have. And that's where Leadertainment was born. Then from there, again, just studying the industry and looking at, okay, what are some of the things that make some of the influencers most impactful?
Mm,
And I started looking at, first started saying, looking at, okay, what separates me from other DJs that are celebrities in the
mm,
industry? And it was the thing that separated me is my connection to community, the
mm.
the impact on lives I've had that really had nothing to do with music, though
Yes.
it looks like it's music.
Mm,
You see, I mean, music has been the
mm-hmm.
connector, but it really has been who I am, how I
Yes.
show up in the world.
Yes.
So, how do I brand that effectively? And where it doesn't feel like it's something outside of me, but it feels very much who I am. So, I don't have to I don't
Yeah.
have to put on something to
Mm,
show up in space that I can just be who I am.
yeah.
And so, I looked at DJ Khaled,
Mm,
and when most people think of DJ Khaled, they think about some of the music collabs he's done or whatever. But the from a branding standpoint, if someone says we the best,
yep.
you think about DJ Khaled. For
He,
better or worse, it's like we the best. Okay, you don't hear nobody else saying that, but
yes.
DJ Khaled as a brand. So for me, it was like I need to have that for
Mm,
what I do,
yeah.
and so move different, win different, be fluid became my we the best.
I
And
love
so
that.
I needed to make sure that it aligned with my values, what I stand for, where it wasn't just something that was egotistical or
Yeah.
anything, but it was cool and had enough swag where it made people like, okay, people want to move different in order to win different.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like, well, how do you do that? By being fluid. Well,
I
what
love
does that
that.
mean? Be fluid is an acronym for bold, engaging, faith, love, unwavering, intentional, determined.
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
taking the principles of that, and you can apply that in literally everything you do, from your personal life to your professional life.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
You see, if I learn how to
Yeah.
have, if I have faith in what I'm doing, if I bring love to what I'm doing,
Yes.
if I'm unwavering in the values that I have, and then I live those things intentionally and
Yes.
determined to get the outcomes that I desire.
Mm.
That's being fluid.
Come on. Come on. Yeah. So it's life philosophy or the way a person shows up, right? Like this is
Exactly.
your it's an acronym, but also could be a mantra for a
It
person
absolutely.
in waking up and I always say like, are you waking up being who you think you are? Are you holding yourself accountable to the way that the person you desire to be, right? It
Absolutely.
doesn't mean we're showing up in perfection every day, but are you waking up being who you think you are and holding yourself accountable to that vision? And
That's it.
who's holding who knows this of you and who's when you fall short, like how do you acknowledge that or what do you reflect on to take you back there to correct daily? So I love
Right.
things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I always tell people, I said, I can't hold you accountable to anything except for who you say you are.
Mhm.
I can't hold you accountable to my expectations of you, what I think you should do. I only can hold you accountable to who you say you are. And
And that
so,
but
yeah,
that there like that even and I love having these conversations with people who also have backgrounds in like mentorship, like really pouring into people's lives because that's who really gets this, right? But it also, I mean, not that someone else can't, no offense, but it also is about people really taking the time to know who they are. A lot of people just show up and they check the boxes. Am I doing the things? Did I wake up? Did I go to work? Did I take care of my kids and did I see my friends?
yeah,
But who are you as a
yeah,
person? Like how do you see yourself? What is the vision for you?
yeah,
And a lot of people don't know what that is.
right.
A lot of people don't know how to fill in those blanks. They know how to check the boxes, right?
Yeah,
And so I think like this thought work, just like you said, I can't hold you accountable to, it's who are you to you? Who do you desire to be?
yeah,
Not how you want to show up based on what other people's perception of you are, but like who do you desire to be? Who are you as a whole authentic person, you
yeah.
know?
Yeah. And having that space, because even within that, the accountability becomes if you open yourself up to it. And I think that's the other thing
Hmm.
uh, I learned to be open to is being accountable. Like,
Yeah.
if I say who I am and what my vision and how I show up in the world and I fall short, giving permission for
Mm,
people to be able to say, hey, that's not who you say you are. So then it gives me a space to be able to say, okay, now I have to question, is this really who I am? Because
mm,
if it's not, then I can make the adjustment and say, well, I need to make sure that I adjust that and make sure that it aligns with who I am. But if it is who I am, then I need to make the adjustment and say, okay, yeah, I kind of, made some, a misstep on that. And
yeah.
so then I can step up as opposed to culturally now, our culture has driven this wedge between uh, being held accountable. and staying out of my business.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but we
It's
say, but people say we want community, but that's commune, and
so
it's
I
like,
was just gonna say
yeah,
it's the loss of community
yeah,
because I remember when my kids were growing up, um, we would walk through the mall and like this is when people went to the mall because now
yeah,
they're like ghost towns. But we'd be at the mall and we'd see all these people. Hey now, hey, hey, hey. And my kids would be like, dang, do you know like we can't walk through this mall and you not know people?
right.
And I said, yeah, these are all the people who are responsible for raising you, right? Like so when you're out here in these streets,
Hmm.
like you are representing our family and anybody who knows me can check you.
Yeah,
So and not that that's the way I grew up is that I wasn't simply raised by my home. I was raised
right.
by my community,
Yeah,
and due to many of circumstances, but I'm grateful for that. And I'm very grateful for that. And that's what I feel like we are missing. Can't nobody tell nobody nothing anymore.
no, no, stay out of my business until, it becomes a situation where we're reacting to something.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, we use, collectively, we use certain catchphrases like family. We're all
Mm-hmm.
family, we're all community until it's the moments of holding someone accountable or
Yes.
telling them the truth about something, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Then it's like, you can't tell me nothing or stay out of my business, as opposed
Mm-hmm.
to looking and evaluating and say, you know what? Yeah, we say we're supposed to be this, and I say I'm a part of a community and these things. So my community has the right to speak to me when I am not showing up how I say I am and who I say I am.
And trusting they're doing it because they want the best for me,
Right.
right? But I think this is also speaks to a little bit of the gap when we started losing our true elders. Like there Durante and I talked about this a little bit on my last episode also, the bit like grandparents started getting younger and younger and younger, and there wasn't that like older wisdom. And again, I'm not shading the younger grandparents. I promise you I'm
Right.
not. I'm just saying what I see in our community, right? Like there wasn't that grandmother's hand, like that old, wise, soft, gentle, beautiful, but firm. There's that gap, and so
Yeah.
I think that there also became this loss of trust um,
That part.
in people because um, people didn't believe that people were really out here in speaking to them because you're concerned about their best interests.
Right. Yeah.
And Portland is not unique in the way that it's been dismantled,
Right.
but I actually wanted to touch on that with you today because I think, there's some of us who have seen the whole shift in change. Portland's changed a lot over the years.
Yes.
Hello gentrification
Yeah.
and the way it's ripped apart our communities. How have you been able to stay connected to like the hearts and the minds and the people um when community has shifted should I say, from where you live to who you know, right? Just a mindset versus a space of living. Like,
Right.
like how have you been able to stay connected to that?
Well, I think it's because of my focus. My focus has always it's certain things that, and I've had this conversation everywhere from down with people that represent the city all the way to, of course, our people in our neighborhoods and
Yeah.
communities. Um, it's relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I focus on the people.
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter if, the people stay centralized in Portland or they get shifted out to, the east side,
Mm-hmm.
or the same thing in terms of value is doesn't change in terms of the people. And so I think, again, when I talked earlier about the reactive, uh, how our people tend to be reactive instead of proactive, and even that divide, I think happens on both ends. Just from my observation, being in Portland for so long, um, is that you got on one end, you got young people that tend not to trust, the adults a particular way, or, I'm just going to go do my thing and I'm not going
Mm-hmm.
to seek counsel.
Mm.
Um, a lot of that comes from, being rejected by elders.
Yes.
Elders are in a position to be able to pass on that wisdom, but when you have elders that fear
Mm-hmm.
young people and
Mm-hmm.
fear that if they pour into them, that somehow it diminishes their power and influence.
Come on.
And so they push young people away, or kind of say, I'm not trying to invest in them. Young people, and when I say young people, I'm talking about young adults, the young
Yes.
people.
Yes.
They feel that, because our
Yeah.
community, we vibe, we sense your
Mm-hmm.
vibe and your energy, and you could be saying
Yeah.
all the right words and everything, but we be like, something is off there.
I don't
Uh,
believe you.
yes, exactly. I do not believe the words that are coming out of your mouth.
Yeah.
And so when that is the energy that is in our city, I mean, and I've had personal experience where I've had very influential leaders
Mm.
uh, in our community that, flat out, have told me to my face that I will be nothing but another DJ.
Mm.
Told me to my face. And
Mm.
it centered around because they could not control my brand. They cannot control my brand was not contributed to their influence. And so they feared my influence in the community.
Wow.
And I remember how it felt for me. It broke my heart. It's like, man, all the work that I'm doing in the community, and this is how you see me.
Mm.
Instead of
Mm.
seeing me as an asset, you see me as a threat. And so when I saw that, I was like, man, so if I'm feeling that, I can't imagine what young people are feeling in our community, which is
Yeah.
why I've always put relationships, whether it's young people or adults, is like, no, I'm going to show up, for the people. And
Yes.
I'm going to be real. I'm going to show up in truth. I'm going to show up in love,
Yes.
because that's who I choose to be,
Mm.
regardless of the things that are happening in politics, whether it's the politics in our government, whether it's the
Mm-hmm.
politics in leadership in our community. Um, and and I'm quite sure, I'm very confident that you ask most people when they engage with me, that that's the feeling that they get. And
Yeah.
it's not, fabricated. It's who I am, because that's how I want to feel. When
Yeah.
people engage with me, I want to feel that from them. So
Yes.
I can't demand something that I'm not willing to give.
Yes. Yes. It, I think about the power in relationships, right? Like, and I call it like relationship capital, right? Like you build these authentic relationships with people. Like, I want to learn about people. I want to learn about people's stories. I want to learn about your motivations. I want to learn about your talents. I want to learn about who you are as a whole individual, because then I can speak your language, right? Then I
Mm,
can
mhm.
appreciate your story. Then I can appreciate, or be conscious um, of of things that a person has been through and be sensitive to that. And then it gives me language, right? And
Yeah.
I think that people are um, so transactional that they don't care about the like they don't care about learning your language. Do do it my way. I see it this way. This is the right way. It's like a right and a wrong way versus
Mhm.
there are many of ways, right? And if our objective is a shared objective, how do I speak a language that best gets us there, right? And I'm not
Yeah,
talking I'm talking solely based on relationships. I'm not talking about like, you know, code switching or changing who you are to get to that.
yeah,
I'm saying, how do you read and understand people? And as we're talking about young people or people within the community, how do you make them feel seen? How do you make them feel heard? How do you make them feel valued? And that is in the way that you build relationship with people. And that is how they begin to trust you. If you can't even see them or hear them, then you don't really know them. Right?
true.
It's like someone
Yeah,
saying love see no color. Well, it absolutely does. Because if you
right.
don't, then you don't see me as a whole and who I am. You don't see me. And that in itself is a slap in the face. So if I don't know or see or take interest in a person's individual story, and how they've become who they are and who they are desiring to continue to become, how can I even pour into them, partner with them, understand them? How do we even begin to get to a place where we're moving towards the same objective? That's how
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah, and I think you made a key point, because it really boils down to truth. Because
Yes.
even in transactional, and it's something that I had to learn over years, because when we talk about relationships, I have always approached relationships as I set the standard in terms of, like, I can't expect someone to be loyal,
Mm-hmm.
to be trustworthy, or any of those things if I'm not being that in the situation.
Yes. Yes.
But I had to take a shift. I had to really take a shift and shift my mindset, that not from, me changing anything about how I approach relationships, but I
Mm-hmm.
had to shift the expectation.
Mm.
And then I had to shift it in terms of my mindset, in terms of some people don't even have the capacity to give that back to me.
Yes.
And so I had to deal with the truth of, there's some relationships that are transactional.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with having a transactional relationship if you're honest with that's what it is. The problem becomes is when we try
Yes.
to make a relationship that's transactional a solid relationship
Right.
of loyalty. And it's like, no, I can be loyal to a transactional situation because I know it's transactional. I can
Right.
call it what it is, but which is why I said, in our culture, a lot of times we use certain, phrases
Mm-hmm.
just loosely,
Yes.
and there's no accountability to it. So, like, perfect example. If I take our relationship
Mm-hmm.
that we've built over the years. We don't talk every day or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that, but if you call me, I'm picking up that phone, and it's like, oh, this is
Mm-hmm.
Janelle. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said earlier, I don't see a situation where, unless, like, you ask me something and I'm booked for something and I
Right.
just literally can't do it. But if you call me, oh, gee, hey, can you, I'm like, okay, yeah, when, where,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the relationship, and it's not transactional.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
showed up for my family, and my son's autism walks and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
didn't have to do none of that stuff, but because of the relationship, you showed up. You showed up. But for me, I've treated some relationships that are transactional like I would treat my relationship with you.
Mm,
And
mhm,
then
mhm.
when it showed to be not that,
Yeah.
then I was angry. And then I
Yes.
had to take accountability and say, nah, it's unfair for me to be angry at that person when that person didn't give me a track record of being that person. So why am I angry at them for something that, one, they don't even have the capacity to be?
Mhm. Mhm.
So once I settled that in, I was like, okay, no, I don't need to hold people accountable to who they say they are. So now if you tell me no, we family, then okay, well,
Hmm.
you just set the parameters of saying, okay, this is what I expect of a family. What does that mean to you?
Hmm.
So I make sure that I'm clear and I don't hold you accountable to a misinterpretation of
Right.
of of what that even is. And I think that's having those candid and real conversations within our community, I think is lost. It's,
Yeah.
it's lost because of that trust, but it's really the trust we have within ourselves.
Mm, come
That's
on.
really comes down to, it's like we don't trust that we are solid enough within ourselves that we don't have to
Mm,
fear our brothers and sisters.
yes. Yes. And it goes kind of back to the knowing of self, right? Like there's a whole lot of people, and I know people that come from like great parents, great families, and they still don't know themselves, right? And I think it has to be such an intentional act. I mean, it goes we've heard this for years. If you don't know who you are, somebody's going to tell you who you are, right?
Absolutely.
And so
100%.
there has to be like this intentionality in terms of parenting to fill up your baby's cups, and when they walk out your door every day, they know who they are, and you reinforce that as they grow and as they continue to become, because if you don't, you know,
Somebody will
they're
tell
left
them.
wide open to somebody else
Exactly.
telling them.
Yeah.
And
And
I
that's
think
what leadertainment, again, with me doing leadertainment, that's what for me it's all about, creating those cultures and experiences because, based on our discussion, where do parents that weren't equipped with that
yes,
in order to tell their children, and lead them in the right direction? Where is that as a community that we get those jewels and those gems
yes,
to equip us to be able to handle our kids and be able to pass on to our kids? And so for me, it was like, no, if we don't create it, if we don't create platforms like this where we can have
yes,
the discussions, experiences where socially people can go out, our people can go out and connect and not just preoccupying our space with the fun part, but we can have fun and leave out with some substance as
yes,
well,
yes.
and that's really what I've been pushing for with leadertainment and curating some experiences and some events, where we have like happy hours where we can come connect and have music flowing, but
We
then
love
have
a good
some
happy hour.
what I mean? And but then, have some real conversations.
Yes.
It's like where it feels organic, where it's not doesn't feel classroomish. It doesn't feel like,
Yeah.
you're being preached to or anything like that. Because most of us culturally pick up things when we're at the barbecue and we at the family,
Come on.
situations, and
Yes.
it's like, so now we need to insert these conversations intentionally in those experiences so it becomes our cultural norm,
Yeah.
you know.
You know what? I've been hearing there's been this really interesting conversation floating across social media about it always starts off like, "Hi, I'm a black woman who moved to Portland, and here's my experience," right? And so I listen to those because they're interesting to me.
Yeah.
Um, and one of the things that they talk about is that it at first glance it feels like there isn't a black community because we're talking about again where you live, right? And each of them have talked about, each of them that I've listened to that have come across
Yeah.
my timeline. I don't know what other everybody's. I've learned let everyone's on different sides of
Right,
social media,
right,
and it's
right,
fascinating.
right.
Um, but um, but they've all talked about to some degree that there is community here, but you have to seek it, and it's more event driven. Um, than it is about where you live. And so, like, you are having to go to spaces to build that community
Yeah.
versus just walking out your front door like it used to be. So, that has been a really interesting topic. But what you just said made me think about that, right? You're
Hmm.
creating these events and these spaces for community.
Yeah.
Um, and what are I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit here
Okay.
because as that conversation is happening, people are always asking and wondering, like, where can we go? What can we? And so, are there events that happen regularly that you could call out for people to tune into, or are there people that you can say, follow this person, follow that person? Of course, follow you, right?
Right.
But but are there other things that or events that happen regularly that you can recommend? Is it just more about paying attention to people and what they're doing and hosting?
I think it's a combination of both.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe that again, as you know, uh, being in Portland, there
Mm-hmm.
used to be a time where we all knew, oh, we know this is popping off every
Yeah.
week. We knew that this is where, people meet up. This is
Yeah.
where this major event is happening, it wasn't so much even just about the event. It was like, no, this is where the people are gathering.
Yes.
You know
Yes.
what I mean? And so some of that has been lost.
Yeah.
Um, and there are things that are happening. I think of like I just found a situation out in Beaverton where it's Black
Mm.
people in Beaverton, and they have these
Mm-hmm.
events and everything. And I hit them up. I was like, hey, like y'all need to like connect with people more to market this so people
Yeah.
know. How to, where you're gathering and where they can connect with other people. Because,
Yes.
like you said, we don't have the Black community as it were in Portland in terms of like, okay, I can walk out the door and I got,
Yeah.
10 of my neighbors that are, that look like me
I
and
could
the
go to
10
Irving
Black people.
Park on the weekend and it's a park full of people that's
That's
packed.
it.
I could go
You know what I mean?
downtown and I could go to the Red Sea. I could go to the Greek. I could go to what is it? Bar 76. I could go to
Right.
all of these Metropolis. Like I'm getting old school on them now,
Yeah,
but
Love
like
Jones. We
come
had all
on.
these things
Yes.
where now um it's not quite like that. So it has been driven with mainly events um that have been happening to get the people, get people together and or it's been agenda driven, like, again,
Mm-hmm.
being reactive. Something happened. Somebody got
Yeah.
shot. Okay, now we
Yeah.
have, and it's like, no, like
Yeah.
where's the spaces where we get together just because, and it's not
Yes.
necessarily a show or anything like that. It's like, no, we getting together because this is where we're gathering,
Mm-hmm.
to get together. And so I think there are some things that there's some efforts to start bringing some of that back, particularly in Portland. But most of our people are out in Gresham.
I mean,
They're out on the east side of things, but I haven't seen any um, efforts to really create that. Is the most of the
mm-hmm.
center around event. Again, people can follow me for stuff, but for me, I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
I'm all over the place in everybody's community.
Yeah.
What I mean?
Yeah.
Doing
Yeah.
stuff. Because like,
Yeah.
I asked somebody just recently and I said, hey, do you think I rock for Portland? And they
Mm-hmm.
was like, no, without a doubt. You're quite,
Mm-hmm.
no doubt about it. And I said, but I've lived in Beaverton for 20
Mm-hmm.
plus years now.
Mm-hmm.
And they
Mm-hmm.
looked at me. I said, "Yeah." I said, "So it's not about where I stay, it's about where my engagement is."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I said, "And so you do. The reality is that you do have to, seek those spaces out where our people are, whether it's through
Yeah.
events or whatever. You have to be actively engaging in that. But because you think about it, we do it in other areas. We
Mm.
want to find with that new sneaker that's about to release and stuff.
Yeah.
We're very intentional about that, or
Oh my
where the
gosh,
next
that
sale.
community is okay. So I love it for them, but the fact that my daughter is laid up in her bed in her bonnet still with probably crust and dust in her
Yeah,
eye, waiting for the lottery for like it's too much for me. I
yeah,
just want to go buy my shoe. But
right.
that's a whole culture. That's a whole community of like sneaker lovers that
Yeah,
I'm not tapped into that because
yeah,
it's more than what I got in me. But like
exactly.
it's just sorry, off
Yeah,
subject, but on like yes. So you're so intentional about that, right? And being engaged in that and finding out about those releases because sometimes also what I noticed about Portland is like it's like solving a riddle to figure out where this event is that I saw floating across social media. And then I got to go research, find people, and look in the comments. Did somebody
yeah,
say it? Like, where is this? Um, and so, I mean, I don't, that might be a new thing. I don't know if that's the way people are promoting their stuff now, but it's also like, y'all, whoever's listening, maybe it is intentional that you're doing it that way, but that is enough to make me not. Just tell me where it is.
right,
Just tell
right.
me where it
It's
is.
right direct.
Just don't make me hump for it because I want to be there. I'm good people. I'm gonna be a vibe when I get there, but just like help a girl out. Like when I got to do too much work to get somewhere, I can get there. I can drive a little ways to get there, but like,
Yeah,
come on.
yeah,
That is funny. That
yeah.
is funny. No, and this I heard you talk about this a little bit. You had made a post when the PDX Hip Hop Week was here
Hmm.
about which alluded to I think a little bit about what you were talking about and that you were doing events related to this all over the place and that the awards event being at the
Research.
research. Yes.
Yep.
Um, beautiful venue, by the way.
Just had the
Beautiful.
Russell concert there last night. It was
Oh, and we
crazy.
love him. Oh
Oh,
my
it
goodness.
was packed. It was like, yeah, it was crazy. He loves it. He loves the spot. I think he's gonna come back, next year.
He is on my list of people. I don't know if I should call it this, but I'm gonna call it this for lack of a better word. There is like this refreshing, um, um, maybe it's more of a return to than an unearthing of what it is right now in music. Um, to where we're getting back to like I feel like the cultural roots of music, whether it's regional, whether it is um just specifically and carried on Black culture. But let me tell you something. There are a few artists that just have my spirit right now. Laresso's one of them. And what it is for me, for him, it's as much about who he shows up being as it is about his music, right? It
Absolutely.
is as much about his creativity, his innovation, and how he is owning himself.
Yeah.
Right? He's like okay, so that's part of it. And his like call and response to his audiences, his engagement of how they are very much a part of what he does just is just rooted in community to me and I love it. And then also there are a few other people who have these new projects who are getting back to storytelling,
Mm,
who I listen to their albums and I feel what I feel the culture in their albums. D Smoke,
yeah, that's my guy. Yeah,
Tiana Taylor.
yeah.
Um, this might be a little controversial, but when we're talking about storytelling about life experiences, Cardi B, um,
Uh-huh.
and Mona Leo. I don't know if you've had
Wow.
a chance to get into her new album.
No, not
It
yet. I'm gonna have to
okay,
check
get
it out.
into her new album. It's definitely that Houston joint. But it is I listened to it all day yesterday because part of me I was like trying to find the words for why I liked it the way that I liked it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It felt familiar.
Hmm.
And it felt culturally connected, and le- like I'm hearing the story that she's telling. I like it, and I love music in general, obviously because of my background, but um a lot of music I've just liked the beats
Yeah.
for a
Right.
while.
Right. Right.
And like the vibe of it,
Hmm.
right? Like, and I'm not knocking anybody's artistry, but
Right.
it's like I'm like, oh, that's a dope, ooh, or like the way that it makes your body move, whether you wanted to or not, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
that's kind of been where music has been for me, or it's been catchy,
Hmm.
But these albums, I'm like, no, but did you hear him say? Listen, that D Smoke album, every part of it every part of it, like
Yeah.
his storytelling, his lyricism, his the beats, like the production, every the layers of it
Yeah.
just took me. It's like turning the pages of a good book, like,
Yeah.
ah,
But you notice the consistent thing across the what you mentioned about all those artists is one, the vulnerability
yes,
that they don't carry
yes,
the industry persona of you better act like this in
yes,
order to be accepted, for better or worse. I look at Cardi B, her this last album, I think is probably her best work.
yes,
Um, and though, from a being a grown person, I can look and be like, yeah, my sister got some growing to do,
yes,
but I also look and say, okay, man, I wonder who her go-to person is from a woman's perspective that
yes,
she can get that mature counsel from as she's growing in her craft. I
yes,
think the more she ends up tapping into that, it's going to be reflected in her music and how
yes,
she continues to grow. D Smoke, I know personally, you know, from doing, show with him. I'm actually going to be doing the show that's coming up on the 30th
mm-hmm,
with him. But just sitting and talking to him and knowing his brother, Sir,
yes.
who I've got a chance to perform and connect with. Um, that brother, I mean, he's who he is. Like he's who he is.
And
It's
that's what I
no put
get from
on,
him
you know what I
though.
mean? It's who he is. He ain't trying to act like nothing. He's just, I'm who I am, and I'm gonna show up that way, love it or hate it, you know. So yeah, I think that is a lost thing because again, like we were talking earlier, if you're not secure in who you are, then
Mm-hmm.
other people will create the identity for you.
Yes, yes. Mm. I could probably keep going on and
Yeah.
on about him in that album,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to. But if I was a girly out here that gave album reviews,
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, he's solid. He's solid. Yeah,
a
he's solid.
complete body of work, I felt this way about his last album also though. That it was just like it touched every part of my soul, right? Like it that, and I don't even know. I know that sounds like
Yeah.
eh,
You,
eh,
you know who's another one like that for me
who?
from of a woman standpoint? Rhapsody.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
we love
Rhapsody is
Rhapsody.
Rhapsody is another one that I'm
We
just
love
like,
Rhapsody.
this is the like it's crazy. Like
She's so
crazy.
dope.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's so dope. And you know what I love when I love seeing her most? I love seeing her most when she is in these spaces of conversation with men who we know kind of dominate that industry, right?
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
she just like and they let her flow. Oh, and she
Yeah.
goes off. Oh, it's my favorite. She's so dope. She's so dope. Like, okay, I'm gonna go on 15 minutes about something else. So let me quit. Let me quit because
Hey, I'm
music
gonna
is a
tell you
whole other.
somebody locally, and what I'm getting ready to say is probably gonna be a little controversial, but locally, um, who's along those lines to me here that's crazy right now is Win. Do you know who
When
Win is?
is she?
She's a
Wait, did
white
she
woman out
just?
of Lake Oswego.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I've seen her, and she just did a spot with Lillard, right?
Yep,
Is that
yep.
her
A
on that?
mixtape. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
hosted her.
Mm-hmm.
I did her mixtape, but one lyrically solid, but just she's young,
Mm-hmm.
but she is probably one of the most vulnerable MCs from our region that I've ever heard.
Mm. Mm.
Like the openness, um, addressing issues,
Yeah.
but being a woman, like
Mm-hmm.
being vulnerable to say,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I grew up like this, and
Yeah.
I understand my whiteness,
Yeah.
and but that doesn't take away that I'm dope.
Mm. Mm.
You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And
Mm-hmm.
we'll go with the best of them, and someone who understands relationships.
Mm. Say more.
Yeah, who understands relationships and you know, uh so I'm really happy, that we have somebody like that in our space,
Mm.
regardless of, that she's a
Mm-hmm.
white person,
Mm-hmm.
for us, if you dope, you're dope. Just like
Mm-hmm.
Eminem, he's dope. Like
Yeah.
say what you want to say, but Eminem is dope,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, um but yeah, she's definitely one to look out for in this region because she represents like, nah, I am who I say I am.
Mm.
I'm okay with addressing issues and being vulnerable and being not liked.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to act like anything. I'm going to talk about my sexuality the way
Mm.
that
Mm-hmm.
is organically me,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so yeah, so I'm really proud of her, and looking forward to her stuff elevating as well.
That's awesome. Um, I I think about kind of just in what you're saying, just even about vulnerability. And I think about the power in vulnerability, right? Like I always tell people, I'm gonna tell my story. I can tell my background isn't private. Like I'll tell all the goods because
Right,
who gonna check me? Like
right.
who gonna and
Yeah,
like, right? Like
yeah,
nobody can make me feel any kind of way about the things that I've been through in life. But I also feel like it's a superpower because it allows me to connect to people. It's part of what allows me to connect to people and have such a deep sense of empathy for other people. Also,
yeah,
is the things that I've experienced in life. And so I think that vulnerability can be scary because sometimes people are you're really judging yourself and you're scared of what other people will think of you. But if I could give anybody, and I'm not even gonna say young people, because honey, there are people older than me that could take this advice.
absolutely.
Once you stop caring about what you think other people think of you, man, life is gravy.
Yeah. I always tell people I'm more scared of not showing up being who I am than I am of people's opinions.
Come on. I love that you said that because there are parts of me that I'm like, how do I tap into this at a larger level? How do I'm more just like what you said, I'm more afraid of not reaching my full potential or not tapping into all of the things that that are honoring who I am and the gifts that I've been given. I'm more afraid than that than I am about like which is why I said earlier when we started this, like I just shortchanged myself. Like I need to just do instead of trying to get the perfect scenario. The
Right.
perfect, just do it, just do it, just do it, right? But it's not because I'm worried about what you would have thought if I reached out or what someone else would have thought if it's about me wanting to create these things and in that effort to tap into all of the ways that I desire to show up in spaces and in the world. It's not about somebody else.
Right.
Never. never about somebody else, like always about me. So
Yeah.
if people could learn,
Yeah. It's how
people could learn.
I see it. What you're saying is how I see it. And I look at what you're saying as relates to you and how you deal with dance.
Mm,
And I've seen how you've coordinated and
mm-hmm.
choreographed stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's and I do the same thing as relates to the craft that I do. It's like we want it to be perfect. We want
Yes.
the moves and that you reach that
Yes.
point, you make that kick, okay, that arch,
Yes.
okay, that
Yes.
arm movement, the
Yes.
choreography,
Yes.
you want those things to be perfect, but coming to the understand that, well, part of it is in order to work on the perfection, we have to get in it.
Yeah.
We
Yep.
can't get there until we move.
Yes.
And sometimes we have so much plan in our head, like,
Yes.
I know how I want to execute. I want to execute. It's like, okay, but I actually have to get out on the dance floor and work on
Right?
this
Because I
thing.
be out
And
here being in my own way, is really what it is, right? There's the like
absolutely.
Kev on stage. This is what I said when I very first started this podcast, because I was like, I want to make sure I have the right equipment. I want to make sure that I have and I want to make sure, and I want to be able to say, like, right, my pursuit of perfectionism was like blocking all my blessings, right?
It's the
Like,
gift and the curse.
right, and my sister had sent me this post that he had made, and she was like, yeah, just do it. And I was like, boop, done. Right, like, and this goes back to keeping the people around us who could hold us accountable to who we desire to be, who we think we are. Like, um man, like without that village of people that says, Janelle, I'm like, oh, you right.
Right.
Let me straighten up, or okay, fix my crown. Okay, let me put this on. Let me do this.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. I'm second guessing myself. Oh, gee, second. Okay, Janelle. Right? So
Yeah.
having the people around you also that like constantly are lifting you up and able to give you that side eye, kind of what we were talking about earlier, that keep you going or keep you in check, in line with who you desire to be. Man, there's nothing that can compare to that. Nothing.
It's
N-
priceless.
It
Yeah,
is.
absolutely.
It is. So I have to ask you this
Hey.
because you are we talked about all I'm going to wrap this up. We're over. You guys, I do this every time. The gift of gab over here. Oh my goodness.
Hey, take your
Um
time. You got me. You
Geez
got me.
Louise. But we talked about all of these many hats that you wear, all of this incredible work that you do in the industry and in the community. You have a whole family,
Yeah.
right? Like I was saying before I pressed record, y'all, I was saying to OG, like I never envision him having a day off because, outside in, this man's always working, always doing something, right? And so, how do you balance being so many things to so many people in the community and the industry, and also being who you need to be for your family? Like, how does that work? Juggling act for sure.
Oh, well, to be honest, I've had to learn how to um, be balanced in the imbalance.
Mm,
As you know, from what you've done, particularly surrounding dance, there are seasons where it's heavy, like you're
yeah,
total focused on getting it done, getting the everything surrounding the presentation done.
yeah.
And during those times, there's things that you're sacrificing. There's
Yeah.
time away from your kids and your
Yes.
people, and you ain't going out
Yeah.
because you're, crafting this thing. That's imbalance.
Mhm.
What I've had to learn, and I used to feel bad because even the stuff I did in community, like, being there for other people's kids and things like that, like I spent
Mhm.
time, initially for years, um, I'd spend literally hours and hours and days
Yeah.
away from my family, serving other people and other
Yes.
families, and I don't regret any of it.
Mhm.
Um, but it took me away from for my kids. I
Yeah.
wasn't going to my kids' basketball games or recitals and things like that. My wife had to, kind of carry that while I was out helping other people's, families and
Shout out to
community.
Diane. We love her.
Yeah. And so um and that had an impact, particularly for my older kids. It
Mm,
had more of an impact. Um, but as the years went by, I started understanding that um about being having a balance within the imbalance, and that was being more strategic and planning.
yeah.
Because as you know, if you don't plan it, someone will
Come
come
on.
and plan some things for your time. And
Right.
so I had to start understanding, the word selfish in a different way of saying, no, I have to be selfish in being able to say, at this time, I can't, I would love to do these things, but I can't. I
Yeah.
can't because I have to make sure that I invest the time into, my family, my wife, my kids, and so I spent some time having to recover really
Yeah.
from it because I sacrificed my family for it wasn't even for like, like something I'm sacrificing, I'm trying to
Yeah.
financially get my kid. It's like,
Yeah.
nah, these were all good things. These was
Yeah.
all good things. I wasn't chasing money or anything like that. I wasn't even chasing fame or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was like felt like I was doing the things that I've been called to do. But
Yeah.
I think even when you have things that you're called to do, that you should do it as an overflow of taking care
Mm-hmm.
of your foundation. And
Yeah.
I had to become better at that. Biblically, if it talks about love your neighbor as you love yourself, but
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes people forget that second half when it says
Mm-hmm.
as you love yourself.
Yes.
We usually love the first part
Yes.
and are
Mm.
lacking in the other. So the
Yes.
more I became aware of, I needed to make sure that I'm taking care of me, and part of me is my family.
Yes.
And so it's understanding and communication, and being able to say, hey, I'm going through this season of where it's heavy lifting on the work side of it. Um, Instead of me just barreling in and doing all the stuff, but I'm
Yeah.
not communicating, to my wife or my kids saying, "Hey, this is what I'm doing right now," so they can see my actions through that filter of, okay, dad ain't just, or my
Yeah.
husband ain't just walking out the door doing all that stuff. It's like, no, there's some purpose and intention
Yes.
behind it. So yeah, it's just, understanding that you're going through seasons, but being able to be communicate effectively and saying, hey, here's what's going on. That way, people, your family and my kids and my wife are not left having to assume that, oh, he
Yeah.
don't care that I'm not
Yeah.
about my game, or he don't care about this. All my kids are grown now, so and some of them are now, stepping in the profession that I'm in now. So now we're even having some different communication because now they're like, Dad, I had no idea
Right?
that you had to do all this to prepare for a DJ set, or
Yes.
you had to deal with all this and dealing with negotiating contracts and perception or jealousy of people and this and this
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking, I'm like, yeah, and y'all don't even have kids yet.
Right.
Or and y'all ain't married yet. So imagine
Right.
having to balance all that. So it's been really cool to be able to have that perspective. But I always encourage people, don't overthink it, don't feel bad, but become better communicators with the people
Yeah.
that you care about and saying, hey, I'm heavy lifting this season. Then there's going to be some seasons where it's like, nah, now we good. We can go on
Mm-hmm.
this vacation. We can do these things
Yeah.
and be intentional about it.
That's awesome. I asked that because I think it's so important for people to hear because um I think that people can have the illusion that it's just so easy all the time. And part of building community is to understand and learn from the stories of others, right? And this is what helps us not feel alone in our own experiences. And so I like to ask those questions because I'm all about preserving our families, and I think
Yeah.
that sometimes we have to share the house, right? And in order for other people to say, "Oh, okay," or like, so this doesn't have to be a big issue, or like, so I in this scenario, right? Like, I don't have to choose. Like, this could be a
Right.
family effort, and like, and to see the evolution of a person as to how they got there. It might not have started off easy peasy in that way, but now we've
Right.
worked and developed a system, over time that happens to work for our family. So I think it's just really important to share those things. So thank you
I
for
agree.
sharing that. And I'm
Yeah.
gonna ask you some other questions that have
Ask,
like
ask,
nothing. It's
ask.
two
Hey,
more
come on.
things.
Come on.
Uh,
Let's go.
this has a. I'm not gonna hold you hostage. But these are less. Um, these are more surface level.
Last few.
Last few
Hey, you
surface
go as
level.
long, hey, sis, you can go as long as you want. You got me.
Are we? How excited are we to have Lillard back in Portland?
You know, it's so crazy, kind of being behind in the background, because I've done stuff with his family and I
Yeah,
know Dane personally. So, while stuff was going on in the media and even him leaving those couple of seasons, it was stuff that I was privy to that
yeah,
it was like, okay, man, if people only knew
right.
this was happening. It's him coming back to Portland is absolutely no surprise to me because of the things that I know and the
Yeah,
conversations I've had with him. His heart has been here. Um, but again, it's when it comes to basketball business, ain't in control of everything,
mhm, mhm,
and so him coming back, or when they talked about possibly, I was like, oh yeah, he coming back. He'll be back home. So yeah, so it's crazy. Just even though he's not playing, you
yeah.
know, having his presence back in the city already has changed just the vibe. It's totally changed the vibe, and I'm loving every bit of it. So yeah, I'm glad he's back home.
He's another one. So I'm a lover and observer of people who are strong and effective leaders, because that's also another side in the work that I do, leadership development,
Mhm.
and um, the development of teams. But um, I have always been a fan, separate of basketball, of his, right? Because of who I see him to be. I can't speak to
Mhm.
who he actually is as an
Right.
individual because I don't know him personally, right? But who I feel like I see him showing up to be, is very much a leader that stands on his word. He seems to be a person of loyalty and integrity, and watching that play out. I think anytime you can watch a team, right, as a spectator and a fan, who is like, give this man what he needs, right, put the people on this team that he needs, right, that's
Right.
me as a fan saying,
Yeah.
build this team around him. Like, come on, Portland, we got to do better. We want better. We got to do better.
Yeah.
And not knowing all the ins and outs of the sports world, right? That's my ignorance. It's just me as a fan fussing. But being able to watch him lead that team through thick and thin, not only celebrating it and standing on business when they're winning, but
Yeah.
also standing on it when they're not winning. And he is something for this city.
Yeah.
He is something for this city. And I think that it is so great to have him back here. And it felt like we lost something, when he left. But I too felt like he would be back, and I'm very glad that he is. But I think that he's also, when we're talking about people showing up, I keep coming back to this because I just think, I am very invested in the idea of people really learning themselves and knowing themselves, and have people that they can reference for that direction also.
Yeah.
But I think that um, Portland likes the old school Blazers, the Clyde Drexler, Kevin Duckworth era of Blazers,
Hmm.
right? And
Right.
so I think for him to be able to show up and for as much as we can tell, he's showing up authentically, right? He's
Yeah.
being who he is. He has a story. He's not shying away from that story. Now he
Right.
gonna stand on the story, and that's part of who he is, right? But then he's also showing the evolution of a man, right? And
Yeah.
how
That
you
part.
don't have to be that. You can evolve, and that is a part of you, and it comes with you, and it's part of what makes me who I am. So I love that I am this person, but also the evolution of a man and a leader. And I've always appreciated that about him.
Yeah.
Um, and I
Yeah.
and I love that we have it back.
Yeah, being around Dame, and again, knowing who his family is and his mom and Miss Gina, shout out to Miss Gina,
Hmm.
um, and seeing where he comes from in terms of like the people that are in his circle.
Hmm.
Um, and just seeing how he moves, I've had a lot of respect for him, but I agree with you. I've been able to see just him growing as a young man, and
Hmm.
particularly because I'm an elder to him.
Hmm.
So I see him as a young man that is still trying to, still growing, even though he's in
Yeah.
the spotlight of leadership and he's trying to do the right things and show up
Yes.
the right way.
Yes.
Um, might not always look pretty to some people, behind the scenes or whatever. But um,
But it's
what he's
real.
making is real. That's the thing. It's real. And I was just telling somebody just recently because he just put his new project out.
Mm-hmm.
And
Hmm.
and I was telling him, I said, well, if you want to know what's been going on with Dane for the last couple of years, go listen to his last project. I said,
Hmm.
because he's putting it all out there. He's telling you what's been going on with him, and I love that he uses the music platform to be able to like say stuff that he might not even say in interviews, but
Hmm.
he'll say it on the record, so it'll
Because
be
he
like
could get a pass.
he could get a pass on it.
That's
So
how I felt about like so this one I've downloaded, but I haven't listened to it fully. Yagi is this current one, right?
yep,
And
yep,
then
yep,
his album before that though,
yeah,
let me tell you, I listened to that for months straight.
yeah, fire,
Months
fire,
straight. Now, I'm
fire,
not always a fan of athletes flipped,
right,
I shouldn't say
me
that.
either,
Athletes that also do music or dabble in
yeah,
music because they
or
have the money
try.
to, right? Listen, there has never been an athlete who I've been like, I love their music.
Right.
That last album, listen
Yeah.
to it for months.
Yeah, solid. Yeah, solid.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is definitely what you see is what you get
Mm,
from that guy. Again, but again, I see him as a young man still growing into the his leadership potential.
mm-hmm.
And seeing how he's been handling the pressure, not only just from an athletic standpoint, but being someone when you're making that type of money
Yeah.
on that level. I have those conversations. Like I don't even know if I've ever really talked much to Dame about anything basketball related. We usually talking about, stuff surrounding family or
Life.
music
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
music. Like, hey man, if anything I be on Dame about, hey man, like his last album.
Mm,
I was just like, hey man, so like, are you gonna really push it out there? Like, is you gonna really like you put everything into creating the album, but one for me sitting on, the recording academy board and
mm-hmm.
being a part of the Grammy stuff now, I'd be like, man, like you need to submit this album for, Grammy stuff.
Yeah.
And so I'd be more mad at him about that stuff. Be like,
Yeah.
hey man, stop playing. Like if
Yeah.
you're really nice with it. Like you're not
Yeah.
like, okay, he okay. It's like, no, bro, like you are really nice with it, man. Stop
Yeah.
playing. Uh, so that's kind of like our behind the scenes,
Chatter.
thing.
Yeah.
But nah, he's definitely nice with it.
I love it. And I think even as hearing you talk like, his leadership potential, like his full leadership potential, right? Like I think the important thing for people to who are listening to this conversation to hear is that we're constantly evolving and becoming and growing and like never stop, right? Like this is one thing that I love about even being blessed to be in the space to have conversations like this, right? Is that I'm growing and learning from every conversation that I have with every person that I have on this podcast, right? And and to never feel like
You've
you
arrived.
you've arrived because there's
Yeah.
always somewhere else to grow. There's always a cavern in your spirit, in your soul somewhere that can still be explored and expanded upon. So like just as you hear us talking about these things and we talked about Cardi and like there being potential for her to like that's for all of us, right? Like we all have this space to grow. And I just want to just further push the idea of um perfect your village.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
really shape your village, really shape the people that are around you, really shape the people that have access to you, really shape, like form that community that is going to continue to lift you, um encourage you, um
Challenge you. Yeah.
challenge you, and inspire you. I went through a
Absolutely.
period where I was like, I'm just not inspired. Like I needed something different and really and
Yeah.
I'll talk about this. I said this on my one with Durante. I'll talk about more where I've been over this last year, but um on a future episode, but I really lacked inspiration and I know that sounds like doom and gloom, like dang, like
No,
nothing in
I
life was
understand. No,
inspiring you.
I understand.
But as a creative, right?
That's
Like
what
you're
I'm talking. I
constantly
understand.
looking for that inspiration and what moves you and inspire. And I'm a Pisces on top of it. Like, come on, like like we live in a creative bag in our mind,
Yeah.
Delulu and all. Like we live in this space, and so to not have what feels like inspiration, is almost like a human not having food. Like there's nothing nurturing the creative spirit. And
You're
um
right.
and so I think it's really important to have people around you and creating experiences for yourself that are continuing to inspire you. Last
Agreed.
question is about the WNBA. Are
Ooh.
you locked in with them or not?
So, yes and no. Yes and no.
This is
So,
nosiness because
yeah.
they need to lock into you.
Yeah. So, yes and no. So, from a DJ standpoint, and it goes back to leadertainment,
Yeah.
um, and just my transition, like my ultimate goal is to um, develop leaders
Yes.
um, like myself, the stuff that I do, but in people's lanes, in their
Yeah.
lanes of choice is but just the whole be fluid,
Yes.
concept. Um, and when I say leaders, not necessarily, I'm not necessarily talking about leaders as in terms of leading other people,
Yeah.
but it really boils down to leading individuals that are taking lead in their lives.
Mhm.
Now, how that's expressed is going to be, based on people's passions and their
Yeah.
vision for themselves. But one of the things as a DJ, it was like, okay, well, and at some point, I might decide that I don't want to DJ anymore.
Yeah.
So, what am I pouring into the next generation of
Mhm.
DJs that allow them to walk into spaces and be
Yes.
respected on the level that I'm respected on? So if
Mhm.
I don't give that game away to other DJs, then
Yes.
I can't turn around and complain and be like, man, yeah, they might be nice on the ones and twos, but their character sucks. They're not
Mhm.
able to sustain a career, a long career because people just don't like working with them, even though
Yes.
they're skilled. So
Mhm.
uh, when the remix came, the G League,
Mhm.
I decided instead of me taking up the space of say, okay, I'm gonna be the G League DJ too with the
Yeah.
Blazers, and then here in the WNBA, oh, okay. I can be the WNBA DJ as well. I said, no, let me train some other DJs to
Mm,
develop the
yes.
characteristics needed in order to preoccupy those spaces. So I did DJ workshops. It's called Get in the Game. And so I held a couple of those. And so from that, I spawned, a few, quality DJs, both male and female, and
Yes.
as they identify.
Yes.
Um, so I look, as you know, OG2 is now,
Come on.
out there DJing. He's doing concourse at the Blazer games while I'm in the arena.
Yes.
And he's DJing the G League. He's one of the remix DJs for there. And then he's also doing stuff with Timbers as well.
Come on.
And
Yes.
then I got him. I got DJ Aspen, which is part of the LGBTQ plus A plus community.
Yes.
They're the official DJ for the Timbers and the Thorns as well, and
Yes.
then also is doing concourse stuff with the Blazers and things like that. So I've positioned a number of DJ Lady X, DJ Avalanche, and a couple of more DJs that I've trained them now to be able to fill in these platforms if needed, where I don't have to be the go-to person all the time, but I can be the pulse and influence of the quality of DJs that
Yes.
show up in those spaces.
Yes. I love that so much.
So to
I
say that, I've trained a few, particularly women DJs, to be able to take that position as WNBA DJs.
I love that. I love that. Yes. Uh-huh. To that whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. I would love to see, especially if they have your check mark behind them. I would love to see a female DJ
Yeah.
doing the WNBA games. I love obviously I used to dance for the WNBA, so I have
Right.
an extra soft spot, but I love the WNBA. Them they are balling.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Balling. And I'm
Yeah.
super excited for them to return to the city of Portland, especially under their original name, the Portland Fire. I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
nervous.
Yeah.
I
I
was
was
nervous we
too.
was gonna
I
get in our
was
weird
too.
bag. As much as I love how weird Portland is, I was worried that they were gonna get in their weird bag and do something weird there. So I am
Portland Caterpillars.
exactly, exactly. I was so
The Portland
concerned.
Bridges.
Oh, right, right. Just anything. Oh my goodness. Oh, I was so happy that they came down to earth on that and they
Right.
said, "Bring back the Portland Fire." Like the nostalgia attached to it all.
Yeah.
Listen, I danced for both the NBA and the WNBA, and as much as I love them both, there was something different about the environments of those arenas for the WNBA, and it I think um the connection to the people was
Hmm.
different,
Yeah.
and you would see the same people, right? So it was like, again, when you're talking about these communities that you're building or relationships that you're building, it's not someone that I'm like, I'll call you tomorrow, but it's just like familiar face. Yes, you're back. Yay. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's this exchange of energy that was just awesome. So I really loved the WNBA season. Super excited
Yeah.
to have them back.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that they'll develop to have the same uh spirit in terms of fan base as the Blazers have.
Mm,
In terms of, like, we know, like, the Blazers, come hell or high water, the fans are going to be the fans. They're going to
mm-hmm.
show up. They're going to continue when we're
Yes.
losing. They're going to show up. They're loyal. And I think with the ladies that it has the potential, particularly with where things are right now in terms of the attention that women are getting in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it has a potential of that. I just think that, um, and I'm only really speaking of Portland.
Mm-hmm.
We know at the end of the day, um, it's about what attracts dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
so, because Portland to me has always been a relationship city, a city of relationships as opposed to being driven by industry,
Mhm.
um, that I'm hoping that fans will see women in basketball being important enough to invest their dollars in coming to the games.
Oh, I think they will.
Yeah,
I think they will. I think we had I think we had strong turnouts back then, but obviously not big enough to maintain it in the
yeah,
city. But I think that there is a different eye on women's sports right now, and
true,
I think
very true.
that they are finally being taken seriously as
Hmm.
professional athletes. And they're entertaining in a different way than what I feel like they were seen as back then. And they are exceptional athletes, and I think that that the world has now joined them. You know what I mean? And
Yep,
I think the city of Portland makes sense.
it absolutely
You
makes sense.
know, like it makes such sense.
Absolutely.
And I'm hoping that that our NBA players will show up at these games, which I think they will because we see them in other cities at other
Yeah.
games. And so I think it's about creating those bridges you know, to also continue to amp it up. So I'm
Yeah,
excited.
I think Dame is going to be a big key to that.
Come on. I'm here for it. I
Yeah,
hope
I
so.
think because he's shown that before we even had a team that,
Mm.
I think about the Olympics,
Mhm.
and some of
Mhm.
those situations, that he's shown up in support of women's basketball and things like that. And I think him being uh, in a leadership position on our team, I think a lot of players will follow suit.
Mhm.
A lot of the younger players will be like, "Oh, that's what Dame is doing." So,
Yeah.
we should be doing that too.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope so. Well,
Yeah.
OG, I feel like I could literally sit here and talk to you for hours because I
Yeah.
feel like there's so many subjects that I could just like and
Hey, that's
that I could
part
pick your
two.
brain
That's
about.
part
I
two or
know,
part
right?
three. Hey, that's
Uh
just nothing but a call, ask away. Anytime you want me to need me to show up, we could. I mean,
Thank
because like you
you.
said, we could talk about some things.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so yeah. So
Yes.
next time I'm on, we need to get into some
Yes.
deep stuff or
Come
whatever.
on. I'm here
You
for
know.
it. Always. Always. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. It is always, always, always a pleasure to have your ear, to hear your wisdom. And you know, I know you get to hear it often, but as a community, as a city, we're so grateful for you and all the seeds that you've planted, all the work that you've done, all the lives that you've touched and the vision that you continue to have to impact the people in this city and beyond this city, right?
Yep.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And can you shout out your website to the people so they know how to reach you?
Yes. DJOG1.com. That's DJOGONE.com. And it's the same thing for social media at DJOG1 on X and Instagram.
Yeah, give him a follow,
Yeah.
subscribe to his website, get all
Yeah.
the updates, see all the wonderful work that he's doing and get engaged. We love y'all. We thank you all for tuning in. Thank you so much and be well.